Have you ever woken up and found yourself completely, utterly frozen? You feel like there's an invisible weight holding you down and you just can't move. Well, that terrifying experience has a name: sleep paralysis. And today, we're going to break down what this waking nightmare is all about, why it happens, and most importantly, how you can take back control. Let's dive in.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that heart-pounding moment. Your mind is wide awake, you can see your room, but your body is just locked. And for so many people, that's not all. They report seeing shadowy figures or hearing things that aren't there. It feels so incredibly real, so frightening. So what is actually going on here?
Okay, so let's pull back from that terrifying feeling for a second and look at the actual science. Because honestly, understanding what's happening is the real key to taking away its power. Here is the most important thing to remember. Sleep paralysis is a totally natural thing, not a supernatural one. You're basically just caught for a moment between being awake and being asleep. And even though it can feel like it lasts forever, these episodes are usually over in just a few seconds, maybe a couple of minutes, and they're completely harmless to you physically.
Interestingly enough, this whole thing can happen at two different times. If it gets you while you're falling asleep, it's called hypnagogic. That's when your body shuts down for sleep before your mind is quite ready. But if it happens when you're waking up, which is more common, it's called hypnopompic. That's your mind waking up while your body is still in sleep mode.
But why? Why does our body even have a paralysis switch in the first place? It sounds kind of weird, right? Well, let's take a look at the neuroscience to figure it out.
Okay, so when you're in REM sleep, that's the stage where you have your most vivid dreams. Your brain does something really smart. It flips a switch that causes something called atonia, which is basically a temporary paralysis of your muscles. And this is an amazing safety feature. It's what stops you from, say, trying to literally run away from a monster in your dream while you're actually safe and sound in your bed.
So, sleep paralysis is what happens when there's a little glitch in that on-off switch. For just a moment, your conscious mind comes back online before the atonia, that muscle paralysis, has turned off. It's just a simple missync, a brief biological mix-up between your brain and your body that creates this incredibly strange and unsettling state.
And here's the reason it feels so profoundly terrifying. During REM sleep, your amygdala, that's your brain's fear and threat detection center, is already highly active. So when you wake up and realize you can't move, your brain is already primed for fear. That's what can trigger that overwhelming sense of dread and sometimes even those scary hallucinations.
So, if this is a normal biological process, why does it happen to some people and not others? Let's get into the common factors that can make these little glitches a lot more likely. First off, if you've ever experienced this, you are far, far from alone. It's estimated that about 8% of people have gone through it at least once. It's actually a surprisingly common part of the human experience, and it's been documented in cultures all over the world for centuries. But look at this. Those numbers jump way up for certain groups. For students, it's around 28%, and for psychiatric patients, it can be almost 32%. So what's the connection? Well, the common threads are often high levels of stress and chaotic sleep schedules, both major triggers for that system glitch we were talking about. The most common culprits are probably what you'd expect. Not getting enough sleep is a huge one, right alongside a lot of stress and anxiety. Even something as simple as your sleeping position can make a difference. It happens more often when people sleep on their backs. There can also be a genetic link, and it's often tied to other sleep disorders like narcolepsy.
All right, so we've covered the what and the why. Now for the most important section, which you can actually do to prevent it and how to handle it if it happens.
The single most powerful tool you have against sleep paralysis is knowledge. Seriously, just understanding that this is a temporary, harmless biological glitch can massively reduce the panic you feel. Once you know that the demon in the room is just a misfire in your brain, it loses so much of its power over you.
When it comes to prevention, it all really comes down to good sleep hygiene. You want to do everything you can to minimize disruptions to your sleep cycle. That means having a consistent bedtime, making your room a cool, dark sanctuary, and finding ways to manage your stress. Oh, and a super simple trick, try sleeping on your side instead of your back.
So what do you do if you find yourself right in the middle of an episode? The key is not to fight it. Don't try to struggle against the paralysis. That usually just makes the fear worse. Instead, try to stay as calm as you can and focus your mind. Concentrate all your effort on wiggling just one finger, or even just a toe. That tiny movement can be enough to send a signal to your brain to reboot the system and break the spell. Focusing on slow, deep breaths can also help you feel more in control.
So we'll end with this thought.
For centuries, people have explained this experience with demons, aliens, ghosts, you name it. But now, we know it's a glitch in our REM sleep switch. For a lot of people, just giving that demon a scientific name, atonia, is the very thing that takes away its power. It's proof that sometimes knowledge really is the light that chases the shadows away.